I think this one needs to be a one-taker, and if you're wondering why I'm wearing this jersey, it's because at funerals we wear black. Leafs lose 4-3 in overtime to the Anaheim Ducks. 32 out of 32. You watched the game. This was a game with two bad teams. Both of them. 2 out of 2. The Ducks were 32 out of 32 heading into this game, and at the beginning of the game, they sure looked it. And they were the better team in the second period. And maybe that should have been a notification that something was wrong, that maybe this wasn't going to end well. And the Leafs find a way to blow a 3-1 lead against a team whose power play legitimately hurts them, the worst team in the entire league. They blew it. They actually blew it. Can I do an ad read and a one-taker? I'm going to try. Want to bet? You can do it at Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook. Does the team that you cheer for stink? Well, you can bet for or against them before the game, live and play, or on one of their many prop bets. Made for Canadians by Canadians. Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. Visit sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. I can't believe I was able to do that. And I can't believe the Leafs blew a 3-1 lead to the Anaheim actual Ducks. They took mighty out of the name, and it perfectly describes them right now. You know what else has happened with the Anaheim Ducks since they took mighty out of the name? They won a Stanley Cup! You know how many different colored jerseys the Ducks have gone through in the time that it's taken for the Leafs to win a playoff round? They're purple, they're green, they're orange, they're yellow, they're white, they're black. That can be brown, I can be blue, I can be violet, sky. The Ducks! Guys, I know you're here for like the David Ayers breakdown, and I'm upset. Can you tell? I'm angry, but here's the thing. Here's the revelation. It's over. It's done. 9 games in, it's not 9 games in. And if you've been watching me, you know I've been saying this the whole time. It's not 9 games. Willie Mitch Nylander. Wait. Austin Mitch Nylander. This is the trouble with one-takers. This is their 7th full year in the league. Those 3 guys. Riley's come into his own. That's a grown man. That's an adult. Tavares has been here for many years. Many parts of this team have been here for many years. Justin Hall, for example. Oof, Madone! They've been here for many years. It's not 9 games. It's the better part of a decade. And it's over. Let me tell you why it's over. Before the game, Sheldon Keefe goes, I'm not announcing my lineup. And right away, I'm like, okay. Then they dress all 23 Leafs for the warm-up. And I'm like, okay. So the Leafs are doing Game 7 of a playoff series type strategies against the Anaheim Ducks. And then during the game, they took a timeout in a game that they were winning over the Anaheim Ducks. And then they blew the 3-1 lead to the Anaheim Ducks. They're shambolic. They're awful. They're genuinely bad. They're bad. They're not good. They're not a good hockey team. I don't know if it's the composition or the coach or the way they're playing. They're not good. And let's talk about Sheldon Keefe, because a lot of people have been talking about firing him like that's going to do anything. I got to say, I don't think we were whispering about Sheldon Keefe being fired at all when this season began, because I don't think he deserved it. Like how I've been saying for the better part of 2 weeks now, Sheldon Keefe has the best winning percentage in Leafs history. He's still like 120-60 as a coach. And this doesn't even add to that. This is one of the overtime losses. They gained a point in this game, which should tell you everything you need to know about the overtime point. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve it. They got help from the refs in this one. The Ducks got jobbed on the penalty shot call. The goalie interference one was, I didn't expect it to come back, but it did. The Leafs were rescued by officiating, and not for the first time this season, the Jets game, and they still lost. Before the game, they do the playoff style tactician stuff. We're gonna play mind games with the Ducks, and we're gonna get out the blender, and Willie's a center now, even though that zombie-like experiment has been dead and buried several times before it goes brains. Like, just totally appropriate for Halloween. Brains! Willie as a center comes crawling out of the earth before getting buried again. You think they're gonna let him do it again? Keith barely played the guy. He played 10 minutes at even strength. Why'd you play him at a position you don't even like him at? Why? They do their weird little strategy with the Ducks, their playoff-like strategy with the Ducks. And the first thing I thought of was, this reminds me of the Leafs losing Game 5 in the bubble against the Blue Jackets. And the reason it did is because the Leafs didn't really have any answers then either. And one of the things Keefe fell back on was, you know what? We're going to try Willie at center. And there was just something about that game, something about seeing that made me go, yeah, no, they're not winning this one. And Willie's never playing center again. And here we are. Here we are. There was another moment that made me think this guy's job in Toronto might be dead and buried. Again, staying with the Halloween theme. Brains! Marner. Both goals come off his stick. There are other guys to blame. Justin Hall had a brutal game. Philip Kral had a pretty bad giveaway that Matthews took a penalty on. And yeah, Matthews gets the 2 minutes. It should be on Kral. Kral's in his second NHL game. I'm not going to put it on him. Both Anaheim goals, at the time that the Leafs took a timeout, were on Mitch. They were on Mitch, and Keith said it. You could tell what he's saying in the camera. He's pointing at Mitch, who he's standing right behind, and he's saying it in front of the whole team. And we all know how much Mitch loves being called out. Oh, we're not even 10 games in. You want to talk about it's early. This is already the second time these guys have butt heads. Publicly, anyway. And what happens? He benches Mitch. There's a TV timeout. Mitch goes down the tunnel, brings his gloves, takes a stick, and he smashes it. He sits a couple shifts, the Ducks tie the game, and Keefe goes, "Welp, better go back to Mitch." No! You blinked! You blinked with both eyes, Sheldon. The moment you go down that tunnel and you don't have an injury or an extreme urge to poop, you're done. You're not playing the rest of the night. You wear this jersey, you play for my hockey team, you don't go down that tunnel unless you have a good reason, not a tantrum. So he lets him go and have a tantrum in the third period against the last place team, by the way. This shouldn't even get to tantrum territory. This team shouldn't need their let's feel good about ourselves and rub essential oils, which I love. You know, I'm not even going to hate on that. You ever put a little mint roller on your temple and you're like, I don't feel like screaming about Zamboni drivers today. It's actually very helpful. It should have never got to that territory, but it got there. So Keefe puts his foot down, all 5 toes on the ground, planted in the soil. I'm benching the guy. And then the Ducks tie the game, and what does he do? He sends him out there, and he's with Austin in overtime. Why? It's over. It's done. You went down the tunnel, you had your little tantrum, it's done. No, he goes back to him. And then they lose anyway. They lose anyway. I said that if the Leafs had made a decision, it was after last night's game. against the LA Kings because they're not going to make decisions based on one Sunday night game at the end of a road trip at the second half of a back-to-back against the Anaheim Ducks. You have to. If they weren't going to do anything before, they have to now. This isn't it. This isn't the group. A lot of the things that we've said simply don't work. The easy cap hits that we look at are Kerfoot's, and I mean, he makes $3.5 million and they don't know where to put him in the lineup. I know he had a nice assist shorthanded today. It's too much money for a player you don't know where to put. It's one thing if you're putting him in different places in the lineup because you're like, this is going to make us awesome. This is going to freshen it up. No, you can't find a place for this player. Justin Hall. Dude, we've been saying, good luck finding a right-handed defenseman as good as him for $2 million. You can't find a right-handed defenseman as good as him for $2 million. Counterpoint, yes you can! I bet you could! And you've had a long time to do it, and you haven't been able to do it. And if you're like, well, Steve, Timothy Liljegren is out of the... That's the missing piece! Timothy Liljegren's the missing piece! We're done! We're done! It's over with this group. I'm not saying tear it down. I'm not saying dismantle it. I'm not saying rebuild. I'm not saying don't even try to make the playoffs. They have to try to make the playoffs. Lest I remind you, Austin Matthews' contract and that whole situation and what they're going to do with the future. You need to do something, anything, in order to keep that guy here. It's over and it's been over. And it's never been more over than this. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I would love to be wrong. Every year, I yearn deep inside to be wrong. That my relationship with this YouTube channel, I badly want the Leafs to win. I want them to go 82-0, and I want them to win in the playoffs, and wins hurt my viewership. They do. And I want the wins. I want them so bad. If I screamed into a camera and the Leafs won the Stanley Cup and no one watched, I'd be totally fine with it, believe it or not. I'd be thrilled. But you guys keep coming here to watch the sad clown yell his sorrows. Maybe that guy who made the Spirit of Halloween meme with me, the Canadian clown costume, Drew, can you put it in there? Look at that, the magic of editing. Maybe the guy who put that there, made this meme, had a point. Except I'm the sad clown. Cheering for my sad team. And I bet they're sad. It's the end of their road trip. They're flying home from Anaheim after that. You know how far of a flight it is to fly home from Anaheim? I do. It's about 5 hours. It's going to be long and awkward and terrible, and I hope everyone on board that plane has an aisle seat. And the movie that they're stuck on, it's stuck, and the screen is just stuck. The movie is frozen, and the brightness is turned up to 100, and you can't turn it off. Because for some reason, this fan base couldn't turn that game off. Why are we all still here? Because we love this team, and we want them to win. And they just won't. They refuse to. They can't do it. Montreal, who maybe we've underestimated, they lost. The Coyotes, they lost. The Sharks, they lost. The Ducks, they lost. The Leafs have played a lot of games in not that many nights, and they had a 5-game road trip. That's hard. The schedule they've had, the opponents they've had, and this is the record you got? Sub 500? 4-5-1? Go dressed as the standings this Halloween if you're looking for a cheap costume. It's done. It's over. They have to make a move. I mean, you're not trading Austin. I highly doubt you're trading Tavares. You can't decide if Willie's a center or winger. When push comes to shove, is it going to be Willie? You're on pace to have, 20 headbutting matches with Marner this season out in public? Is it going to be Mitch? That's a big deal. Is it going to be one of the usual suspects? Are you going to go out and get a goalie? It has to be something. And I don't think it can be one something. I think we need multiple moves here. Everything I've ever seen and learned about hockey should indicate that firing Keefe is the wrong move, but he finally disciplined a guy and he blinked. This team is identical to the one that got Babcock fired. Identical. Different personnel, different everything. And the players who were on that Babcock team that got Babcock fired are all better than they were 3 years ago. All of them. It's over. So, what's going to happen? Well, Leafs don't play Monday. They don't play Tuesday either. They got a home game against Philadelphia, and they don't play Thursday, and they don't play Friday. For a team that has struggled, for a team that is so obviously bad as the Leafs are right now, they got a wide open week. The fan base is red hot. They're making a move. At least one move. I'm excited to see what it is. Because genuinely, I hope it makes the team better. I want to talk about a winner. So bad. Is anyone out there? Is there a path forward for the Toronto Maple Leafs to ever do anything? Well, I'll be here whenever that moment comes. But for now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell your friends, for goodness sake. Give me something to smile about. Go to the description. Donate to my Easter Seals page. I'm raising money for the Eric Lindros Celebrity Hockey Classic again this year. There was an amazing outpouring of donations after last video. Let's keep that up. Let's keep that momentum going. We've raised over $25,000. If you got $5, that's enough. That's enough. And you know what? If you've already donated, thank you. You're doing great.